at where companies are licensed and they choose to trust that, etc. I don't have an answer to this. I simply think that players will find the products that they think are competitive and that they know they will get their money back when they win. So.
And another point to understand, and most of us do, is that one factor and one factor alone is the number one driving force of whether or not a person is going to go bet at the bet 500 of the Chinese lottery or bet with his illegal bookie. The illegal bookie is always going to issue that person credit. Okay, so as long as there are agents and super affiliates that offer their clientele credit, the underground bookmaking market will flourish.
And that's an important thing to understand with the credit side as well. And obviously this is very much towards the darker end of the scale that you were talking about. But I mean, it's there for a practical reason. You know, it's difficult with payments online in China. If you do it the credit way, you just change the winnings and the losses. It simplifies things. So it's not necessarily that people absolutely want credit for credit's sake. It's simpler.
What about, I've only got a few more minutes on casino, but just a few general questions. Like, are there any, what about new innovations? I mean, the market's been around for a few years now. Are we seeing anything new and exciting coming up in the next few years? I mean, you mentioned in marketing, it's rife with rebates. Are there new ways of getting customers? Are there new product being offered? What can we expect in the next few years from this industry?
Well, I think it's more about channels than anything, and I think one thing that has always surprised me here in Asia is, you know, in every other sector, mobile is gigantic. You know, Asia leads the development in mobile to a large extent in other sectors, but not so much in this sector. But I'm pretty sure that will change. And if you look at the online lottery companies in China, they are actually quite advanced with their mobile products. But I think that this is an area where a lot of innovation needs to happen, or, you know, catch up, if you like. I think in the casino sector, you probably see more multi-tabling, for example, in Baccarat. I don't think there are a couple of operators out there who do it, but I think that will be much bigger, for example. So there are a number of things. But mobile, I think, is the big one to get back to, you know, where it should be.
You mentioned multi-tabling. Baccarat, I saw a product out there on the exhibition of the show at the LT Games stand, multi-tabling in a bricks and mortar environment. You can bet on 10 Baccarat tables at once at your terminals. That's pretty interesting that they're multiplying the hands per hour by 10 out there. One last question on casinos. Customer lifespan. How long does the average customer hang out at these websites before they throw their hands in the air and give up?
That's another challenging question, I think. But I think this greatly depends. I think, obviously, customers who come in, they try your site, they don't like it, they will disappear immediately. But once you've established the trust and the relationship with your customer, they can go for a very long time. You know, in a market like this, there are tons and tons of competitors. The trust, when that's there, it can go on. You know, I wouldn't say forever. That's a big statement. But when the trust is there, it can last for a long time. So.
Another statement that shows that online is just an electronic version of real life, isn't it? It's the exact same thing in real life. Well, Dave, you've been sitting there very patiently. It's all up to you now. Pick up that microphone. We'll move on to online poker. And as I said, Dave Jung ran PokerStars in Asia for 3 years, and a very interesting 3 years as well. The establishment of the whole PokerStars live operation here in Macau at Grand Waldo, that then went over to Grand Lisboa, back to Grand Waldo, and is now at COD. To start off with, can you tell us a little bit about that PokerStars experience and how PokerStars got into Asia, and it wasn't an area that was familiar with poker, and what is the story with the beginning of poker in Asia through that 07 to 10 sort of period?
I'd say it was initiated really in 2006 with the UIGEA, the Unlawful Internet Gaming Act in the United States, and PokerStars was one of the first companies at that time to really decide to go out there. And they had gone out there because they had success in Europe with the European Poker Tour, and they had a very strong business model. The business model was that they would do these live tournaments all across Europe, and then they would broadcast them. And this is a throwback to the entire marketing model of the Chris Moneymaker effect, where in, I believe, 2003, Chris Moneymaker, an accountant, he had bought in for something like $9 and ended up winning $2.5 million. And so they found that in Europe that this model had actually worked. They would do these poker tournaments all across Europe and then would broadcast them in Europe, and the signups would just be crazy. So coming to Asia, they thought, let's do the exact same thing. The only problem was that in Asia, nobody knew what Texas Hold'em was. Nobody knew who PokerStars was. And people said 2 cards, okay, let's play some Baccarat, right? They had no idea what this was. And so the biggest hurdle was originally getting the casinos or regulators to even approve the game of Texas Hold'em to be played in the casino or to be played as a tournament. And the biggest thing also as well is that when you do the marketing for poker, it's almost like a lottery kind of marketing spiel where you buy in for a little bit and you win really big. And so it's all focused on the event of tournaments. And it's also what's great about poker was that it opened up so many more marketing channels than if you did casino. So if you want to go and you want to say, let's play casino, you can win really big and you bet this much, then there's only so much you can really say about the marketing. It's more on a lifestyle basis, whereas in poker you can say, hey, poker is a great skill game where you really use your mind. Bankers love to play this game. It really improves things, and the same people always end up winning these tournaments because it's skill based. And so the marketing was far more open. But coming back to Asia, the casinos and the regulators just didn't know what poker was. And so the first thing was to educate the regulators as to why poker was very good. But coming to Macau in 2006, 2007, at that time, the Baccarat tables were brutally, wildly profitable. At that time, one high-stakes poker table probably wouldn't have not equaled 100, you need 100 poker tables to equate to one Baccarat table at that time, back in 2006, 2007. So casinos were like, why would we give you a poker table? And so, but what ended up happening was that we established the Asia Pacific Poker Tour, and what casinos saw was that it drew in a lot of international players. And so F&B and hotel rates started to increase. And, we did something that a lot of other things in casinos you'd never do. Like, we actually would host